Let me ask you something uncomfortable. When did you last sit in silence and do absolutely nothing? No podcast, no phone, no plans, just you. If that question made you anxious, notice that. Most people don't build careers out of passion. They build them out of escape. Busy becomes the armor they wear, so they never have to feel what's underneath. The ancient teachers had a word for this: running without a destination. You can be successful and completely lost at the same time. You can achieve everything you planned and still wake up empty. Because no title, no salary, no achievement has ever filled the space that only presence can fill. Your purpose is not your profession. Your purpose is what you return to when no one is watching. So ask yourself honestly, are you building something, or are you running from something? Sit with that question. The answer will tell you everything. Follow if you're ready to stop running and start arriving. No one prepared you for this truth. 4 illusions quietly steal your peace. First, I could have changed the past. The past is not a room you can re-enter. It is a footprint in dry earth. Learn from it, but stop trying to step back into it. Second, my real life starts in the future. The future is only a story in your mind. You can breathe only now. This is where your power lives. Third, someone else will complete me. People can touch your joy, but they cannot build your center. What you chase in them is a forgotten part of you. Fourth, I am weaker than my pain. Look at everything you thought would break you. You are still here. You were always stronger than the storm. If this feels like a remembering, not motivation, you're ready to train your mind. Inside the inner circle, we practice this daily. If you feel called, the link is in my profile. What if loneliness is not a punishment? What if it is a prescription? Every great teacher, every sage, every prophet, they all had one thing in common. They spent long seasons alone. Not because they were rejected, but because the truth only speaks when the crowd is gone. You have been treating your solitude like a problem to solve, but maybe it is a gift to unwrap. The noise of the world will always be there, but the voice inside you, it whispers, and whispers cannot compete with chaos. So before you fill the silence again, ask yourself, what if being alone is not the wound? What if it is the beginning of the healing? Follow if you are ready to listen. Look at me. In a world where everyone talks, wisdom moves in silence. When you share too much, people don't listen to understand you. They listen to collect pieces of you they can use later. Money grows in quiet. Plans grow in secret. Let your results make the noise, not your promises. Not everyone clapping wants you to win. Some stay close just to watch, to compare, to compete. Learn the difference between support and curiosity, between loyalty and convenience. Silence protects you more than blind trust. Privacy protects your peace. Not every dream needs an audience. Not every victory needs an announcement. If this spoke to you, follow me and share this with someone who needs to hear it today. Everyone says they want to find themselves, but nobody wants to sit in the room where the finding happens. That room has no music, no advice, no distractions, just you and whatever you have been avoiding. Self-knowledge is not a weekend workshop. It is not an affirmation on your mirror. It is the willingness to be alone long enough to meet someone you might not recognize, yourself. And that meeting can be uncomfortable, because the real you does not perform. The real you does not impress. The real you simply is. But once you meet her, everything changes, because you stop building a life for others and start building one that is true. Save this for a night when the silence feels heavy. It is working on you. You were taught to fear being alone, to fill every silence with noise, every empty evening with plans, every quiet moment with a scroll. But what if loneliness is not a punishment? What if it is an invitation? The ancient sages didn't run from solitude, they walked toward it. Because in silence, you finally hear the voice that has been trying to reach you for years, your own. You are not lonely, you are finally alone with yourself. And that is exactly where healing begins. The people who know themselves deeply, they all pass through the same door. Stillness, silence, solitude. Don't be afraid of your own company. It may be the most important relationship you will ever build. Save this if you needed to hear it, and follow for more wisdom that meets you where you actually are.
Free practices and meditations. Link in bio.
That emptiness inside you? You have spent your whole life trying to fill it. With people, with food, with scrolling, with plans. But what if it was never meant to be filled? A bowl is useful because it is empty. A room is livable because it has space. A mind is clear because it is not crowded. The emptiness you fear is not a flaw, it is a feature. You were designed with inner space, not so you could stuff it with noise, but so wisdom could echo through it. Stop trying to fix what was never broken. The void is not your enemy, it is your teacher. And the lesson is simple. You do not need more, you need less. Save this if you are tired of filling what was meant to breathe. You were never afraid of being alone. You were taught to be. Society gave you a phone before it gave you stillness. It taught you to fill every silence with noise, every evening with plans, every pause with a scroll. But here is what no one told you. The emptiness you run from is not a hole, it is a door. The ancient sages did not fear solitude, they walked toward it. Because in silence, you finally hear the one voice that has been trying to reach you your entire life, your own. You are not lonely, you are unoccupied. And that is exactly where transformation begins. Save this if silence still scares you. Follow for more wisdom that meets you where you are. The question you ask determines the life you live. Most people ask, why am I alone? And that question leads to self-pity, comparison, and despair. But what if you change the question? What is solitude teaching me right now? Suddenly, the same silence becomes a classroom. The same empty room becomes a sanctuary. The same evening alone becomes an appointment with yourself. This is not a trick. This is how the ancient masters transformed suffering into insight. They did not change their circumstances, they changed their questions. So tonight, instead of scrolling through someone else's life, sit down and ask, what is this quiet moment trying to show me? The answer may be the most important thing you hear all year. Save this for the nights when silence feels too loud. In a room full of voices, you hear opinions. In silence, you hear truth. This is why the world keeps you busy. Because a quiet person is dangerous. Not dangerous to others, dangerous to illusions. When you stop consuming and start sitting, things collapse. The stories you told yourself, the roles you played for others, the beliefs you borrowed and never questioned. Silence does not give you answers. It removes the wrong questions. And what remains is clarity. The kind that no book, no guru, no algorithm can manufacture. The most important conversation of your life requires no one else in the room. Just you, just now, just truth. Follow if you are learning to trust your own silence. You are never alone anymore. Not because you are surrounded by people, but because you carry a device that makes sure you never sit with yourself for more than 30 seconds. Every notification is a small theft. It steals the one thing you need most, your own attention. The ancient teachers had no screens. They had silence. They had space. They had themselves. And from that emptiness, wisdom was born. Solitude is not about where you are. It is about where your attention lives. Tonight, try something radical. 10 minutes. No phone, no music, no distraction. Just you and whatever rises. That is where the real conversation begins. Save this if you are brave enough to try. Have you noticed something strange? The longer you stay in, the less you want to go out, and you think something is wrong with you. But nothing is wrong. Your nervous system is finally decompressing. The noise is fading, and for the first time, you are hearing your own rhythm. Society calls this isolation, but the sages called it returning. Not every closed door means you are hiding. Sometimes it means you are healing. The world will always be loud, but your peace should not depend on matching its volume. Learn to tell the difference between running away and coming home. You are not broken for wanting quiet. You are waking up. Follow if this felt like permission. There is a word you have been misusing your entire life. Lonely. You say you are lonely, but what you really mean is you are finally alone, and you do not know what to do with yourself. Loneliness is a wound, but aloneness is a homecoming. One says, something is missing. The other says, I am enough. The people who truly know themselves, all of them pass through solitude, not around it, through it. So the next time silence feels heavy, do not reach for your phone. Do not call someone just to fill the space. Sit, breathe, stay. Because on the other side of that discomfort is the person you have been looking for, and it was always you. Save this if you felt that. Why did the ancient sages walk into the desert? Why did monks climb mountains no one could reach? Why did prophets sit alone in caves for years? Not because they were lost, because they understood something we have forgotten. Clarity does not live in crowded rooms. Truth does not arrive during small talk. The deepest answers do not come from Google. They come from the silence you keep avoiding. You do not need another retreat, another book, another podcast. You need 10 minutes where nothing competes for your attention. The desert was never about suffering. It was about hearing clearly for the first time. Your desert is waiting. It is the quiet corner of your own room. Follow if you are ready to walk in.
Transform your life today. Link in bio.